everyone, I'm Alex and I'm the hands behind Lovecraft Crochet. My plushies are for the anxious, depressed, autistic, and neurodivergent. Small enough to travel in a purse, backpack, diaper bag, or even your pocket. You can check out my Facebook page or TikTok to see what patterns are available and stay tuned for the new ones coming out. I also make hats, scarves, blankets, and dice bags for the tabletop gamer or dice goblin in your life. Feel free to order through the page, TikTok DMs, or via email at love.craft.crochet@gmail.com. Now, on to the segment.
Due to the graphic and disturbing nature of the crimes discussed, listener discretion is advised.
Killing 15.
Everybody, I'm Dr. Nick. Over there's Dr. Hibbert. Say hi to the nice people. Enough shenanigans. We have one last special episode for you. We are going to give our friend Chris a Twisted Tales podcast.
What are we doing with Twisted Tales podcast?
Oh, we're going to give them a spotlight episode for us.
Okay, cool. Well, I'm apparently Dr. Hibbert, or AJ Carey, and Dr. Nick over there is Sam.
Hi, guys.
You might recognize us. This is our show, but apparently this time it's not going to be our show.
No, we are going to let Chris from Twisted Tales tell us a story from his point of view.
Okay, so as the host, I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with Twisted Tales. I'm sorry, I know you are our most listened to podcast on Good Pods. Go listen to us there too, everybody who's not Chris or Chris too. I don't know. What's Twisted Tales? Twisted
Tales goes into murder. He's done some work with Liz from Ouch or My Mom Will Shoot.
Ouch, was that a ghost?
That's it.
I'm the one who gets that name wrong, not you, Sam.
All I could picture was Ouch or My Mom Will Shoot, which I blame on you because you did that one day.
Actually, I have done that a lot.
Anyways, where he does murders, missing people, disappearances, different types of crimes. He twists the tales.
He twists the tales, or are the tales twisted?
The tales are twisted. You're right.
Well, since I've never listened to him before, again, no offense, I watch Adapt Just Ridiculous and listen to a lot of Casual Criminals and Distractable, but I watch YouTube more.
He's on YouTube now.
Oh!
So you can find Chris on Twisted Tales Podcast, on Spotify, Apple, Good Pods, Facebook. I don't think he's on the gram.
Do I get to be Xena?
You want to be Xena?
I think I'd like to be Lucy Lawless more than Kevin fucking Sorbo right now. One of them still believes in humanity. Anyways.
Listen to Twisted Tales Podcast. Here's one of Chris's favorite episodes. And I've listened to it. It's really good. Age is about to go listen to it. And we'll see you next week with a brand new episode. I'm Sam Rossi.
I'm AJ Carey.
Listen, y'all!
A clear choice of good versus evil, of right versus wrong.
Twisted Tales.
Hey, I'm Jen.
And I'm Sam.
And we're Death Before
Booze.
Our favorite thing to do is to tell each other outrageous stories and to see how the other one is going to react.
We figure we probably aren't the only ones who want to hear crazy stuff, so we started a podcast.
Yup. We're two friends who love all things true crime, paranormal, weird, and just plain sinister.
If any of that sounds like it's up your alley, every Tuesday, come on and join us for new stories, chats, and mostly laughs.
And you can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, and Amazon.
Grab a friend, grab your booze, and join us.
Yep, and always stay spooky.
Due to some violent content, parental discretion is advised.
All right, welcome back to Twisted Tales, folks. So, tonight's tale I'll be doing with my new co-host, Stephanie. So, it's pretty cool for her to join up and tell some tales with me and everything. So, say hi, Steph.
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
Yeah.
Good. So, this tale, you've never heard of, Ricky Kasso. Huh?
Brand new to me.
Oh, okay. Well, my next tale here, it's going to be about a kid named Ricky Kasso. Well, 17, wasn't really a kid, but he was born March 29th, 1967. This is up in Huntington, New York, in the United States. Now, Huntington's one of 10 towns. It's located up in Suffolk County, New York, and has a population of 204,000. So, little spot.
Yep.
Now, this town was founded back in 1653. Got incorporated back in 1894. So, a little about the area here. There's 5 harbors that kind of border like the north side of this town. So, a couple of them are like Cold Spring Harbor, Lloyd Harbor, Huntington Harbor, stuff like that. And lots of people actually visit here to see their coves. They have lots of bays around that area and everything. And I think there's like a total of 9 beaches here that are maintained by the town too. So it's like kind of like a Cape Breton town, I guess. It's all like,
Yeah, that's what it sounded like.
yeah, because it's all like right by the water and everything. Now, Ricky was the son of Lynn Mervis Peachman and Richard Allen Kasso. So that guy was born in 1939. So his parents got married at a Methodist church. So I believe the father was around 25 years old at this time. And the honeymoon that they had was up at Ski Lodge up in Pennsylvania. I'll tell you a little bit about their parents here. So his mother, Lynn, was a graduate of Lawrence University. She was in the Delta Gamma sorority here, and then she went on to be a teacher in Northport. Now, his father, he was a graduate of Colgate University. This is up in Hamilton, New York. He received his master's degree from Springfield College. This is up in Springfield, Massachusetts. And during this time, he was in the fraternity Sigma Nu. Then he went on to teach back in Northport. So, both of them were teachers. The dad kind of worked at the local high school here. So he was a history teacher. He taught social studies. He was actually a football coach here. This was at the Cold Spring Harbor High School. So it's a public school, grades 7 to 12, like normal. And it's actually ranked I believe it's the 33rd school that's ranked amongst public schools in New York. So kind of a decent school, I would say. So Northport downtown does offer up like a lot of cool shit. A lot of visitors actually go here because of the views of the harbor and everything. And there was a lot of homes that were actually built, and these date back to the 18th century.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's much like I said, like pretty much like a Cape Breton town too, you know? Like Lewisburg or shit, right? Like you can go, 20 minutes anyway back home and hit a fucking patch of water, so.
Pretty much, yeah.
So as of 2020, this place has a population of over 7,000 people here, and it was incorporated back in 1894. Originally, though, this place was known as Great Cow Harbor, and this was by the early settlers here. So then they changed the name as time went on and progressed and everything.
Okay.
They had a son, Richard Allen Kasso Jr. So he was born March 29th, 1967, and he was born at Huntington Hospital. Sometime later, Ricky would have 3 more siblings. So he had 3 sisters, and he was the oldest of the family. Well, oldest child of the family, I should say. So growing up, Ricky enjoyed playing sports. There were lots of places to go, like fishing and all that. Like I said, you could just walk down to the docks there, put a worm on your hook, and just cast off. You could also sit around here. A lot of people went to the bars and stuff there, but not the younger kids, right? They'd stick to the woods and shit. But a lot of guys would just go and watch the boats pass by, enjoy the scenery type thing, right? So there were a few bars around here. There was Gunther's Bar. This is up on 84 Main Street. It's actually still open today. I believe it had a fire back in 2017 there, but they reopened and revamped and everything.
Okay.
Growing up, he was your average kid. I mean, sometimes his dad would rip him a new asshole here every now and again, but he did really good with his schoolwork. He enjoyed hanging out around Northport, and he just hung out with his friends. So Ricky played on the school football team. His dad, being a football coach, had a big deal to get him into sports. Now, during his elementary years and everything here, he was a good kid, and he was a decent player. Nothing really spectacular here, because his father was really trying to be a hard ass about it, so he kind of pushed him to play hard, become better through discipline there, tough love, so to speak, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, his father would often argue with him sometimes. Things would turn physical. I mean, his father sure as hell kind of wanted him to have a bright future in football, right? I mean, no matter what the cost of that is to your relationship to your kid.
Yeah.
But I mean, the father was pretty adamant. And you got to think, too, like, different time, right?
Yeah. It's a
And
lot of pressure.
well, yeah.
Yeah.
He tried to do good in his dad's eyes here, but he wasn't the model player. Eventually, Ricky started to have a high dislike for football here. It was mostly because he was just forced into playing. But Ricky played the game anyway, right? His father kept pushing him around here, and there'd be times that if Ricky really fucked up on the field, his dad would be home later on, waiting with like a broomstick or something to beat him with.
Oh, that's terrible.
From there, shit just kind of got more physically violent here. His dad would start kicking him out of the house, and this was after like months and months of fighting. Now, Ricky would have to crash with his friends or find a spot in the woods. He was more so getting in trouble here because he ended up getting into drugs. He got into marijuana use there a little early. I believe that was around grade 6. And that's a little early.
Yeah.
But the odd time here, I mean, he would be allowed back into the house and everything. Sometimes he'd get kicked out. It was very short-lived. Now, Ricky was kicked out completely when he was in the 7th grade. So he did what he could, I guess.
I
So,
guess he found his own path that way. I mean, being on his own that young.
yeah, and you're going to meet new people and hang out with certain crowds and everything, right?
Yeah.
Especially, like, like you're kicked out of your home. Where else do you got to go? Ricky ended up starting hanging around with a guy named Jimmy Troiano. So this was a kid he befriended during his football games and practices and all that.
Feel bad for him. I mean, that's a young age to.
Be kicked out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially after having such a harsh relationship with his father, like all that pressure on him, and then just be left alone.
But he had his friends and shit, so I mean, he was getting by. So Jimmy and Ricky would start smoking pot, and there were a lot of folk diving into the reefer madness around this time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy was also into the drug game here a little bit. He sold weed and LSD mostly, and LSD would be acid. He would just get by selling drugs here and there. Jimmy did have trouble with the law here once or twice. I believe he ended up in juvenile hall here on some charges. This is the guy he was hanging around with. The two would begin mixing things up here, getting into PCP, acid, and mescaline. And LSD actually became a favorite of Ricky's, which, I mean, it would make him escape reality kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
So, LSD is a potent hallucinogen that can alter a person's perception of reality and actually vividly distort the senses. Now, it's a little known fact that LSD was originally derived from ergot. Now, this is a fungus that grows on rye and other grains, shit like that. So, the hallucinogenic effect of LSD was first discovered back in 1943. So, this is by a doctor named Albert Hoffman. So, this guy was a Swiss research chemist. A little bit about LSD here. You want me to go into detail?
Well, I mean, sure. I mean, there's some people that might not know.
They did some early studies on this because they were exploring potential use of the drug. They had focused mainly on what it might offer up into like different kinds of mental illnesses. So LSD kind of became the subject of numerous research studies here while in the 1950s and 1960s. Now, they investigated the therapeutic potential of the psychedelic drug because it could actually potentially heal chronic alcoholism, mental illness, that was developing in patients that were terminally ill, and it would help them kind of accept their fate of death type thing. So that's what they were experimenting everything with. Actually, it was also used by the U.S. Army here and the CIA. They use this for psychological warfare.
Wow, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, no, there's tons of crazy shit, man. We actually did Edgewood Arsenal there a couple episodes back. I did that with Josh. Yeah, that was a pretty good episode, actually. He's pretty knowledgeable on the matter, too.
It's interesting that that's his drug of choice, the LSD, versus like other stuff that would be available. Like, well, I guess because of all the different stuff that it does with your brain, like how you feel emotions and stuff like that, I guess. Must have made him feel pretty good.
Yeah, no, it definitely made him feel something at least, right? Like
Yeah.
drugs were his go-to to probably escape reality for a little bit, right? Or get away from the bullshit.
Yep.
Pure LSD is a white crystalline powder here, dissolves in water. It's odorless and has a slightly bitter taste. But LSD is usually packaged in squares. This is of LSD soaked paper, can be miniature powder like pellets or microdots, or what they call gelatin chips. So there's a few ways to get LSD on the go. Even when you get acid, like you can get blotter too. So blotter are like pieces of paper that have illustrations of cartoon characters and stuff on them.
Yeah.
Now, LSD reached its peak during the 1960s and 70s here, so it was more so associated with the hippie youth of that time. But eventually it dropped off in the 1980s, came back in the 1990s, and the shit you get now was actually researched, and it was found to have lower levels, so it's not as good as it was in the 1960s. So, an effective dose would be anywhere from 20 micrograms up to 80 micrograms. So there's a little bit of LSD talk for you.
Very good.
Thank you. So, Ricky had really gotten into acid pretty hard. Sometimes he would go to class, he'd be a little fucked up. He'd actually give a couple of hits to classmates and everything here. So, I mean, he was just doing it for fun type thing, right? Or he'd sell them, or he would sell them a few or whatever.
Yeah.
So, eventually his name got around, this guy's selling acid or whatever, and people started to purchase the drugs from him here. So, he would save up for the weekend and whatnot, use some money to buy some more, get fucked up, and just keep on in that cycle. Now, Ricky's mind expanded from the drug use and the effects of the LSD, actually. It started to alter his personality. He became a little bit darker. He was dealing with a lot of shit from his parents, being kicked out of home and everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
But Ricky did call his mom from, like, payphones and everything here. Sometimes he was allowed back. Sometimes he wasn't. So he started skipping school just to go get high and everything, hang out with his friends. I mean, what's the point of fucking school anyway, right? I mean, you see your dad teaching that class there and everything, and I don't know.
Yeah. Be
Totally.
toxic for him.
Well, yeah, and he's the one that kicked him out to begin with, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what do you really have to fucking look forward to after that? I mean, Ricky was just fucking the kid, teenager, right? He needed guidance, and the guidance wasn't there, right?
Yeah.
So Ricky ended up just like popping by school or whatever to smoke joints, sell some drugs, make some money, grab some food and whatnot. How you liking the story so far?
It's interesting.
Yeah? Never heard about it?
No, not at all.
Pretty cool. Like, there's a lot of documentaries on YouTube there. You can check those out. I'll send you a link to one of them, actually. So Ricky would spend his time over in the Northport Public Library. So this is where his obsession with the occult had started to peak. Because there were books on black magic and Satanism and all that dark shit, right? A book that he would regularly check out was the Satanic Bible. So this was written by a dude named Anton Lavey back in 1969. Book has 272 pages of pure awesomeness. So this book here, I'll give you a little quick breakdown here. It's composed of 4 books: the Book of Satan, Lucifer, Belial, hope I said that right, or Belial, and the Book of Leviathan. So this book presents Satanism not as the practice of evil or as the worship of the Antichrist. So the Book of Satan mostly challenges shit like the Golden Rule, the 10 Commandments, all that stuff. And do you want to know how many copies it sold?
Sure.
Over 1 million.
Wow.
I know, and that's since its initial release. Ooh. So, what Ricky would do, he'd read up on different books here: witchcraft, Satanism. And Satanism here is the worship of Satan, the prince of evil spirits, and adversary to God. Satan traditionally was an angel who rebelled against God, was cast out of heaven, and other fallen angels had followed him and whatever, right? Ricky kind of focused on all this shit here, his obsession or like his affinity for evil or whatnot, who knows. But this is what he started to kind of dig deeper into.
Yep.
The first known use of Satanism was in the year 1565. And there's some facts for you, Steph.
That's pretty cool.
That's what we're all about in this episode, buddy. So Ricky would start spewing this shit around to pretty much anybody who would listen. Now, a lot of folk believed his crazy shit, and there was others that just thought he was full of shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
So classmates began talking about how Ricky would go to cemeteries, he would hang out, smoke joints with his friends, talk about the devil, and they used to bring this tape recorder with them. So like if they get high on LSD, they'd smoke joints, they would record the whole thing and then play it back later.
That'd be wild.
Yeah, so they did this so like they could see if they could hear any like satanic voices or whatever, and they do like satanic chants and shit. But I mean, they're just kids, you know what I mean? Like they're just getting fucked up, going with the flow kind of thing, right? So Ricky would eventually start to use and sell what's called angel dust. So some recall that he would smoke like actually insane amounts of this shit here to try and get in touch with the devil himself and speak with him.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't know. It seems pretty crazy here. This kid stemmed from being like this good sports star to a full-blown drug addict.
Right?
But, I mean, yeah, but sometimes the choices in life we make aren't always the best. But he had drugs to kind of mask all his shit, the pain of being kicked out of home and the abuse that stemmed from his father, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Especially being like a tryhard in football to get him to do all that, right? Like, what if he didn't like football? What if he wanted to do something else with his life?
Well, and that's it. And I mean, he probably just kept pushing all that pressure down and down and down. And then once he was booted out, he had nothing else to turn to. So then once he started taking in his drugs and, learning about this stuff that obviously his parents wouldn't be appreciative of or approve of, then for him it was like the only way to go.
Yeah, and fucking
It's sad.
then go downhill, right?
Yeah.
Well, the drug he got very into was angel dust, and it's known as PCP. This is also a mind-altering drug. It may lead to hallucinations, depending on how much you smoked. Or Ricky, he would always just smoke a whole bunch here and get fucked up. And this is what everybody that hung around with him started to do, like just smoke angel dust, get fucked up, hang out in graveyards.
Okay then.
Yeah, sounds like a grand old time. So PCP can come in a variety of like tablets, capsules, colored powders. People can snort these, can be smoked. Ricky would always do this. Sometimes he would add it into his joints and whatever, so he'd roll up a joint and he'd add some in there. Now, when he was hanging around places here, he would spray paint pentagrams around. Sometimes he'd like put them at playgrounds and stuff where him and his friends would hang out. And he would spell the word Satan, but he spelled it as Satin instead of Satan. So it was like Satin instead of Satan.
Okay.
Not sure if he was being clever or not, or maybe, I'm sure he knew how to spell Satan, right? Like in the books he read, like fuck, the Bible
Yeah.
that he picked up was called the Book of Satan. So he's definitely fucking around. But his new persona here was pretty captivating by all his friends and all that. Some were just trying to impress him and shit. There were a lot of people that genuinely feared him, and just some folks that would just walk by and they'd steer clear of him, right?
Yeah.
And like even the cops, when they seen them around, like they didn't give a fuck either. Like they patrol their beat, of course, but the area that the kids would like hang out, it was like two park areas here.
Mm-hmm.
This was around the main street, so downtown area here. Bunch of gazebos, couple like graffitied up parks and stuff. So the area that the police actually patrolled, this was a part of the town Huntington. So they couldn't really do much as it was like Northport police, right? So it was like kind of
Yeah.
like a territorial type thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so this is just what Ricky would do there. Like they tell him not to mark up the gazebos and shit, or you got to come back and clean that type deal. But he still kept spray painting satin around. So he did spend a lot of time in the woods here. This woods was close to his parents. Well, not close, but close enough. So
Yeah.
it was actually behind his parents' house here. Yes, we spent a lot of time here, and the woods were actually called Aztecia Woods. So this is where they would hang out and get fucked up. Ricky didn't really have a place to stay, so if he wasn't found here, he'd be hanging around like empty warehouses and shit, and this is where he sometimes would sleep. That's right. See what I deal with. Other times, if there was unlocked cars, he'd just sleep in there. The guys would come out to the vehicle in the morning, kick him out type deal, right? Just
Yeah.
a totally different time back then. I mean, they wouldn't call the cops and shit, but I mean, I don't know, just kind of like they were generous with him or whatever.
Yeah. Well, they probably just see like a young kid and be like, "Oh, he's harmless."
Well,
Shoo him on the way, you know.
like if it wasn't the odd car that he was staying in here, like you could stay at a friend's house for a couple days. And there were a lot more kids that were kind of out of their own besides Ricky too. Like there were a lot of troubled teens around that time,
Mm-hmm.
but they had no place to kind of call their own, you know? Oh, it's just fucking crazy times. If you didn't fucking act a certain way or whatever, you're getting shit, right?
Yeah. Well, to a point, but I mean, back then everybody was so like focused on, respect your elders, and you were expected to behave a certain way and do things properly, and I say that with quotation. But I mean, they didn't know any better either. So,
Yeah. Okay. So with Northport being really close to the water, they would find shelter on boats. Mostly it was boats that weren't being used in the off season.
yeah.
So that's where they would sleep until they were caught or whatever, right? Or the boat was needed, get the fuck off the boat kind of thing. this was known as like a blue collar town here. So people worked like manual jobs, construction, manufacturing, or some other industrial setting, right? Now, it's a little known fact that historically, most of these people actually wore blue collared shirts to the job, and then hence the term blue collar.
Makes sense, yeah.
That's right. Now, between the woods and the selling a little bit of dope down at the loading docks and shit here, he started talking about his satanic bullshit here to another kid. And that kid was Gary Lowers. Now, he actually knew Gary from elementary school. Gary was a good kid. He had a good family here. But he would sometimes just split out a couple days a week or whatever, right? So every few days here, he'd come back.
Kind of like a floater, I guess.
Yeah, like a drifter or something.
Mm-hmm.
Now, friends say he was a good kid here. Some say he could have went the other way too, because he just loved to smoke dope and everything, right? I mean, that's totally harmless. Now, he'd go to school, but he would also be known to skip a couple classes here just to go smoke up and shit, right? And hanging around with Ricky and all that, eventually, he got into some heavier drugs down the line. So, him and Ricky would, like, sometimes be allowed to go home and shit, like, Gary's parents knew about Ricky and vice versa kind of thing, but Ricky would always fuck it up when he was home. He'd end up talking about his drug use to his parents. He didn't give a fuck. So he'd say stuff like, Mom, I'm gonna go get a few hits of mescaline. I'll be back for dinner. Ricky would just do this to, terrorize his mom. He put ketchup on his wrists here, say that he cut himself and all that, and she'd come running out of concern and everything, right?
Yeah.
And he would just start laughing hysterically because he'd look at her reaction and he'd just fucking laugh.
Mentally torture her.
Oh yeah, like just a wicked attempt at some kind of humor for him or something, right?
Yeah.
So Ricky's parents often worry about his drug use here. They seen him and his friends were kind of getting into heavier shit now, because they were lacing their joints with angel dust. They were just straight doing whatever, right? Gary was actually breaking into random people's houses by now just to steal shit, get some money and stuff. And they both got pretty hard up and started doing mescaline. And mescaline actually comes from the Mexican peyote cactus. So this can be found up in Peru and Ecuador.
So what is that? Is that like another mind trippy one?
Yeah, it's like it can make you like see or hear things that do not exist. If somebody's talking to you, it can become distorted and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
Yeah. This can also come in like a tablet, powder, or liquid here. It can actually be chewed here, so like you can chew a little bit and get your desired effects and whatnot.
Wow.
So a little bit about this here. It's said to have like a bitter taste here, so that's why they put it in capsules here, so it avoids that bitterness.
Yep.
This will give you like increased energy, perceptual distortions, such as like bright lights or like geometric patterns and stuff.
Okay.
It lasts a long time too. It can take anywhere from 45 to 90 minutes to kick in. And
wow.
It lasts for anywhere from 9 to 14 hours. So amazing. Yeah. So this is what they would do just in the woods at the gazebos, just be tripping balls. Oh, no fatal overdoses from taking mescaline have ever been reported.
Probably because, well, you said it came from a cactus plant?
Yep.
So, it's technically, I guess it would be natural, I guess. So, probably why.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's the Mexican peyote cactus, and was it the San Pedro cactus there? This is actually like a less potent version of LSD or whatever, but its effects are mediated through its interaction with the serotonin receptors and levels and all that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So all the kids knew about Ricky's drug use now, and they started calling Ricky the Acid King, because he was a little bit deeper into the drug game now here, selling it and all that shit. So he would start catching rides with some of his friends. And they'd go out, they'd do some deals, or they'd smoke some dust or whatever, get fucked up. Eventually, they got a little too fucked up one night here, and one of the guys driving actually ended up crashing his car and shit.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but that's how they rolled, right?
Yeah.
Ricky would always...
Carefree.
Oh, yeah, no, they'd just fucking do whatever they wanted. Ricky would always find ways to get where he was going, too, like, if need be. I mean, whether giving them drugs for a ride or some cash or something, right? And if people wanted anything, they knew where he hung out. They could just go down to the downtown area. There's Ricky. There's your shit. So in order to keep themselves in some extra cash and everything here, Jimmy ended up pitching the idea of breaking into people's houses. So Jimmy would gain access to their home, steal what he could pretty quickly, and just get the fuck out of there. So this is what they would do to keep them afloat, and with dope and food and whatever else. But I guess Ricky did have some morals or whatever here, because this is something that Ricky didn't join in on. Now, there was also a store downtown called the Midway. So this store, like, sold collectible knives and all that, rolling papers. There were a lot of posters, band posters that were up there. So it was here that he would buy a pocket knife, and this is something that he would always keep on him. So a little later on, Ricky's parents wanted to see if he wanted to return home. They wanted him to finish his school now, right? But this didn't last long here. Ricky got expelled for skipping classes too many times. So his parents had this bright idea to have Ricky committed to a mental hospital. So they contacted Northport Police, and they did just that. So the hospital that he was committed to was the South Oaks Hospital. This is up in Amityville, New York, located at 400 Sunrise Highway. So these guys take care of you here if you're struggling with substance abuse, or they offer up like psychological and psychiatric care. So yeah, this place is just like a 202 bed facility here and helps people. So Ricky being Ricky, he kind of put on like this whole cunning charade type deal here. He told the doctors that he would return to school, he would stop worshipping Satan, and a bunch of other bullshit. So these guys ended up letting him go. So everything his parents worked hard to get him in to get some help, he pretty much signed himself out.
Jeez, eh?
So Ricky did stay back at his parents here before he was thrown out again. And then he just dropped out of school completely. And he returned to his life on the streets. So Ricky would start seeing another guy here around the streets. This dude's name was Pat Toussaint. This guy was this old Vietnam vet here who would always ramble on about bullshit like the dark occult and stuff like that. A lot of the guys around town called him Pagan Pat or Father Time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so this guy was just like this old crazy dude here. He had some PTSD from the war and stuff, and him and Ricky would bullshit about the occult and other dark forces and shit. He also wore a lot of satanic jewelry here, which kind of intrigued Ricky here, kind of influenced him a little bit more, I guess.
Yeah.
So this is what kind of got him to go a little bit deeper into his Satanism and stuff. So Ricky's friend Jimmy around this time, he had his own place, so he helped Ricky out here by giving him a place to stay. So the two were roommates for a short time. Do you want to know a little bit about Jimmy here?
Yeah, give the backstory.
Okay. Now, a lot of his buddies thought of him as like one tough motherfucker. Because around the age of 4, he was adopted from an orphanage. And the older he got into his burglary, and that kind of got his name known to police. And the guy dabbled into drugs like pretty much his whole life, so some say that he also liked to fight and all that too. This gave him a lot of visible scars on his face, like from all the fights and everything. And a little bit about his look here, like he kind of had like some fang teeth here, so a few of the folk around named him Drac. So he didn't really like this whole nickname shit, but what do you do? So it's
Well,
what?
I said, well, that's it. They just kind of have to go with the flow, I suppose.
Well, yeah. And even all like his robbing houses and drug use, like it kind of gave this guy like a bad boy reputation from his classmates and all that. Now, like I mentioned, he would fight a lot here. This was mainly because people teased him about the scars and his teeth and everything, right? Like he was not one to be fucked with. If you said something to him about like his looks or whatever, he'd probably just punch you in the face. So Ricky kind of started to try to make his own little cult. Now, there was a few other guys here that kind of had their little group going here. They named themselves Knights of the Black Circle. So the thing is here that these were just a group of fucking drug dealers here. Now, these guys here were a little bit older than Ricky and his crew and all that. They had their own jackets made, and this was mostly just to scare off like rival drug dealers and shit, right? Like they had their like satanic shit on the back and pictures and stuff on their jackets and vests. Now, they weren't like a cult or anything like Ricky was trying to be. They were just a group of kids that hung out together here, sold some drugs, and same shit that Ricky was doing. Except they weren't into fucking Satanism.
Okay.
So as I mentioned prior that Ricky was like spending all his time in cemeteries and stuff, he would start getting the idea to dig up graves. So he ended up digging up like an old grave in the middle of the woods here. This is a colonial era grave. So they're really old, right?
Yep.
So what he was doing was trying to get a skull so he could do this satanic ritual here and get a hold of the devil. But thing is, this wasn't Ricky's idea. He actually got this idea from another kid. This is back in 1983. So that other kid was Randy Guthler. So this kid actually broke into a local mausoleum and he stole a skull and a hand. And the guy's hand it was Joseph Morel. So the kid was arrested for this pretty quick. He told police that he was actually gonna sell it for $500 or $600. This is up to a magic shop up in New York City.
Wow.
Yeah, so this is where Ricky heard about this and he got the idea to do that and then include skulls into like his satanic rituals and stuff. But the grave that he dug up was actually all old and it was all like decomposed and stuff here, so there was nothing there pretty much. It was all just fucking dust.
Yep.
Yeah, when you die and you're buried and everything, like your body will start to break down within a year or so and fully decompose in about 10 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I thought it would take much longer than that.
Yeah, no, it's a process. So a couple things that depend on that actually. Like this depends on like how deep the body's buried. If bugs and insects can get at it, because flies and maggots can, dissolve a body if it's exposed. Also depends on whether the body's embalmed, the casket type that is placed in, or if there's a lot of moisture in the atmosphere. So after Buddy trying to sell the skull, police had focused on the grave digging here. They got a couple calls about like open graves and everything. So the cops were checking it out, seeing if there was anything related to like devil worship or anything here. They ended up arresting Ricky here. So they searched him. Cops found like devil worship material in his wallet. There was a list of like hierarchy and hell, some Latin names here that were written down. So Ricky was charged with violating a public health law and misdemeanor for opening a grave. Now, some say that he dug 5 feet down into it here. Some recall it was 7 feet, but depending on how many drugs you're doing at the time, you can't really recall too much, I guess.
Yeah.
So eventually, Ricky would have court a little later on that June. But this didn't deter him and the boys from getting into trouble. Now, Gary was being looked into by police for robbery and shit here and being places that he shouldn't have been. He had a few trespassing charges here. This is back in April of 1984. Then he would keep going on, receive a few more charges. Now, Ricky around this time was very sick. He ended up catching pneumonia, so he spent some time at Long Island Jewish Hospital. Now, Ricky's folks were there. They were kind of talking to him and everything. They spoke to nurses, doctors, and they wanted him to be committed here. They did some tests. They found out that he was antisocial, he was not psychotic, or of a violent danger, and guess what he was? Released.
Oh my god.
Yep, so he recovered from his pneumonia, and that's it. He got out of there. So, once he was out, he started partying hard with everybody, and they go extra fucking hard from here on out. Now, there was one party that Ricky ended up completely faded, and he ended up passing out. Now, his buddy Gary had grabbed 10 bags of PCP off him while he was sleeping, took it from the pocket of his jacket. Now, some time had passed here. Gary ended up smoking like 5 bags here, and Ricky woke up sometime later. So he noticed that his shit was gone missing here, and a few of his buddies told him that Gary kind of snagged some off him. Now he confronted Gary on it. So Ricky got 5 bags back, and then he got an IOU. He's like, I'll give you $50 later on. Now Ricky and Gary weren't on the best terms these days after all this here. Especially like stealing drugs off your buddy, right? I mean, if he would have woke up and did whatever, asked him, maybe he would have gave you some, right? But kind of a sneaky thing to do, I guess.
Yeah.
After this, they had a couple of fist fights, and Gary ended up paying him back. Kind of tried to do best he could here, whatever, right? So he was all squared up, and he wanted to start hanging back downtown here, because he wasn't allowed downtown, because he owed Ricky money and shit, and this is where Ricky hung out. So this was a few weeks later. So all 4 ended up going to the woods here. This was Ricky, Jimmy, Albert, and Gary. So they left the gazebo here, went on down to the woods. So everything was all cool now. Rick was all paid back. Gary didn't want to go at first, but Ricky and them hit up a Dunkin' Donuts, because he's like, I'll buy you some donuts. Come on down, we'll get high and shit. And yeah, and there are some that say that he ended up paying $50 back, but some people say it was $100. You know what I mean?
Well, he probably felt pretty betrayed.
So, when Ricky and them got to the woods here, they quickly started up a fire. So the fire wasn't staying lit due to some dampness in the woods and whatnot because of the rainy night prior. So Gary, being the nice guy he is, he removed his socks to kind of get things fired up here. Pun intended there, Steph. So he was trying to keep the fire going here, so he ended up using the sleeves of his jacket there, so he cut them off and threw them in here. I mean, he was being really nice about the whole thing, right? I mean, he paid back his dues and everything.
Yep.
Now, Ricky had suggested that he cut out some of his hair to donate to the fire here, but Gary was pretty reluctant to do all that. Jimmy ended up grabbing Gary and helped him as Ricky started cutting out chunks of his hair with the pocket knife that he bought earlier. So Ricky then bit him in the ear, and then both were down on the ground, punching each other, having a ground and pound type thing, right? Just a full-on fist fight. Now, everybody was all fucked up, and it happened so fast that everybody was just like, what the fuck, right? Ricky and Gary are just beating the shit out of each other now. I mean, it wasn't really anything new. I mean, the two went on like this a few times prior, right? Like, that was like when Ricky was asking him for his money and shit like that. So Ricky pulled out the pocket knife that he had, and he used it to stab Gary. And then he just kept stabbing him a shitload of times. I believe it was anywhere from 17 to 36 times that he stabbed him.
Wow.
Yeah. At one point there, he actually got up, like Gary got up, and he decided to try to run away. But he ended up getting stabbed in the back here and attacked some more. And every time he started to stab Gary, he would say to him, "Say you love Satan." And then Gary would reply with, I love my mother. Then he'd stab him again, and then he'd ask the same question after each stab. Pretty fucking horrific.
Jeez, that escalated quickly.
Oh, rather. I mean, it was probably just building up for weeks, right? Like the little fights here and there and shit, and
Yeah.
you know, maybe they lured him into the woods too, right? So Ricky just kept ordering him to reply with like, "Say you love Satan," right? He finally ended up giving in to his demands here, and then Ricky fucking killed him. Now Gary had even said to him like a little bit prior to this, like, "I had funny vibes that you were gonna kill me." And yeah, sketchy vibes, man. And then all that happened.
Wow. His intuition was right.
Yeah. Now, after he was dead, Ricky and Jimmy covered up his body with some leaves and like some ripped off branches and shit here. So they kind of just threw all that over him, left him laying there. And then Ricky bent over Gary's body and he rambled something about like Satan or a little satanic chant or something like that. So that was it. He had him killed and he was saying satanic shit to him. Just all fucked up on acid.
Makes you wonder, though, like, if he didn't do so much acid, would he have gone down that road? Like, was it the acid or was it his brain from when he was born? Like, you know, some people are like natural born killers.
Mm-hmm.
Or if his was just from all the like chemistry in his brain getting messed up.
Good question. Like, even with like the drug use and everything, his home life was shit too, right? And like living outside is just complete shit. And yeah, I mean, what do you really have to lose after all that, right? What do you really give a fuck about? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when he was saying this satanic chant to him here, Ricky thought he seen Gary's head move, and he totally fucking wigged out. And he began stabbing him multiple times in the face with his pocket knife. 3 of them ended up leaving out of the woods here, and Ricky ended up like laughing as he was leaving. So he didn't give a shit about the murder at all.
Yeah.
And like you said, like what if the drugs fucked him up like in the head and everything, right? I mean, drugs will fuck you up, especially the amount of drugs that they had taken that night too.
Yeah.
Mostly like mescaline, LSD, and stuff. So afterwards, they just left him rot in like this fucking leaves and sticks and shit. Now, some time had passed. Nobody knew where Gary was. So his parents didn't bother to call the cops about him being missing because he ran away a few times before for a few days, right? And then he would later on come back home. So nobody bothered to call police about Gary disappearing at all.
Wow.
Yeah. So what Ricky did now, he would start to boast about killing Gary, like he'd just fucking tell anybody, right? And everybody thought it was bullshit. Like all his classmates thought he was full of shit. And this was until he decided to take a few of his classmates up to see Gary's body. So he didn't hide it at all. He didn't give a fuck.
Wow.
He didn't care.
Brazen.
And, you know, in a way, maybe this would, like, sort of send a message kind of thing. Like, don't fuck with Ricky, right? Like, everybody knew that Gary had ripped him off prior and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, Gary stole his drugs here, I guess, and maybe he had to be made an example of, right? I mean, that's probably what Ricky hoped people would think too, right? Like, steal from me and there'll be consequences kind of thing, right? And even though Gary was paid up with Ricky and everything too, it was just something that Ricky couldn't let go. I mean, maybe it was the disrespect thing, right? I mean, he always hooked Gary up and everything, vice versa, right? Like Gary would go out and steal shit and sell it and hook Ricky up kind of thing, right? I mean, both of them were fucked up when he passed out and everything too. I mean, if you're smoking drugs, you want more and everything, right? And
yeah,
he just rifled through his pockets. He probably didn't fucking mean anything by it, but what do you do? Just a dirtbag thing to do anyway, like to take from your buddy when he's passed out and shit, right? But
yeah,
like I said, he wasn't in the right state of mind. So it's been 2 weeks since Gary's disappearance now. And during that time, he told his classmates everything. He ended up bringing anywhere from 15 to 30 people up to the woods to see Gary's decaying body. Fucking crazy, huh?
It's wild that it even got to that number before somebody said something.
Nobody said anything at all. Maybe out of fear, you know?
Yeah, well, I mean, you don't know how you'd react to that.
No, I
It's
mean,
easy to speculate, but when you're actually in that kind of scenario, what do you say? Like,
and this didn't happen like far away either. It was like a 10-minute walk from the main fucking dragon park there. So like maybe people were just like scared shitless. Like nobody really fucking thought to call the cops. I mean, their parents fucking they kept it to themselves. But I mean, soon enough, like people talk and word got around here, the kids at school and everything, and kids around town. There was a girl that overheard them talking about all this too, like some of her friends and stuff. And she actually tipped off the cops to the whereabouts of the body. Now, Gary's mom actually received a phone call here, and she kind of shrugged it off as a prank call because they called and told her that her son was dead and that they killed him. I mean, that right there, where's my son at? He's missing. You'd think he'd go to the cops or something, right?
right?
And even Ricky, like, it might not have been the smartest thing to do, but I mean, it got everybody talking and shit. And, Ricky kind of had this feeling that shit was going to go down. So he was making a few plans to go away for a little bit. At first, him and Jimmy actually returned to where Gary was, and then they buried him a little bit deeper. It was like the same fucking spot, but they just dug him deeper, and that was that. So they bought a cheap piece of shit car from New Jersey here for like $50, and they were making plans to go to California now. They were gonna do this whole road trip type thing here. Now Northport wasn't too far from Jersey either, like a 2.5 hour drive or something like that. So the whole plan was for them to sell drugs around like surrounding areas, Northport and shit, get them some money, then they'd split. Now around this time, Northport police had checked up on the phone call here about Gary's location. Now that came in on July 1st, but the girl didn't end up like leaving her name or anything here, so they just fucking chalked it up as a fucking prank call.
Terrible.
Sucks.
Yeah.
But eventually it was looked into here, and police dogs were brought up there to help in the search, and they checked out the scene here. And police dogs were howling, sniffing around the whole area here and doing what they do. And what did they find? A shallow-ass grave. There was almost a whole pile of bones in there with decaying flesh. It was enough flesh to get a fingerprint from, so that's what they did. Now the bones were wearing a denim vest, running pants, white undershorts, and a pair of Nikes. So that's everything that fucking Gary had when he was killed. Next to his grave was a black spotted area on the ground. This was the spot where Gary's body had laid for 10 days prior, before they fucking dug him up and then dug him a little deeper. They literally like moved him like one spot over and dug him deeper, right?
Yeah.
You think about like the impression and everything that has, right? Like, I don't know. Tissue of his body had a darkened color to it. The blood was drained from his body. It was sunken into the earth a little bit here, so it was eaten by bugs, which kind of left some parts of the bone like clear of flesh and everything. There was he had some dents in his head from the blade of the knife and everything. Just a horrific, fucking violent crime.
It's a shame.
Yeah, like I don't know, just the people that you hang out with and stuff. You're not gonna think your friend's gonna kill you, you know.
Well, no, and I mean they did spend quite a bit of time together. Like, it blows my mind that he didn't have any compassion for him.
None.
Like, knowing the situation the two of them were in. Like, I mean, yes, they were obviously like tripping balls on drugs and whatever, but I mean, you still would think that that raw emotion would be there and it would be enough, but apparently it's not.
No. And yeah, just fucking terrible. Like when police got there, they actually thought they were looking at a wig here that was in the dirt, but originally it was just his scalp. Like he'd been that fucking badly they thought he was decapitated, but he was just falling apart from like decomposition and stuff. The knife marks here that he had in his skull here, like I said, just very violent. If they would have found him like a little bit before he decomposed and stuff, like his body would have been that badly injured to the face that he would have been totally unrecognizable. Now his eyes were gouged out. You can tell the eyes were kind of chipped away at here because there was like scrape marks of the knife and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, think of how hard you got to be like stabbing and digging to make and leave fucking knife marks.
It would be a lot.
Yeah. Now the anonymous female tip had led the police up to Gary's body here up in the woods on July 4th, 1984. Now, thing is that this tip came in on July 1st, so I mean, they had 3 days thinking this was a prank call. I mean, what could they have done in that 3 days? They could have got out and found him a little bit sooner, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But by this time here, like, Jimmy and fucking Ricky were already gone. This was around July 4th, and July 4th is huge in the States, too. So they had their planned road trip on the go by now. So by the time police had discovered the body, they were already gone. So yeah, like the whole we'll sell drugs thing, right? But it didn't last too long, though. They ended up going back to Northport here to celebrate the 4th of July with the boys. They made a brief little return. They were going to do this before fleeing Northport yet again. But they got fucked up on LSD here. They had a grand old time with their friends. So they partied it up. They got really fucked up. And what they did was go to sleep in their getaway car. They just wanted to sleep it off before taking off again. So they parked their vehicle across from the Northport Yacht Club. Because somebody called their car in as a suspicious vehicle in the area, right? Kind of nice little area, I guess.
Yep.
So a patrolling officer checked it out. He knew right away it was Ricky and Jimmy here because he knew them from around town and shit. So he called it in and waited for backup. So once backup got there, they were going to arrest the two teens here and they were going to question them in the murder of Gary. So when backup arrived, they went and apprehended them. Jimmy went along with it quietly, peacefully here, and he surrendered. But Ricky, he had tried to stab an officer to death with a switchblade that was hidden in his back pocket.
Oh my.
But, yeah, he didn't get the chance to, though. Cops were all over him here, and he didn't get time to fuck around. So the two were arrested, and Ricky was charged with the second-degree murder of Gary Lowers. Now, he'd been interrogated here. He was brought back to the station there, and he confessed to the killing. So in his confession, he told them how he made Lowers say, "I love Satan," and then took people up to see his remains.
No.
So with Ricky's arrest, all this shit blew up in the media. So they pointed all this towards satanic rituals, all that evil shit, right?
Yeah.
Now, Ricky had told police that he'd seen a black crow that cawed after he killed Gary, and he kind of thought this was Satan's approval of him murdering Gary. So, like, good job kind of thing.
Shows you how messed up his mind really was, hey?
Yeah, I mean, to kill your best friend here and then get approval from Satan, just a little bit. Just a little bit, buddy. Now, Gary's father actually talked to the media here, too. He said that Gary was scared of Ricky, and he told him that he wasn't involved in any drugs or any Satanism, and that the boys had abducted him and then killed him. Maybe so. I mean, maybe they were just going out to have a good night. Maybe this was the plan all along. But, I mean, you throw in your drugs and everything, it's gonna be a fucked up night.
Yeah.
Now, everything in the media here explained everything about, like, the drug use and fucking revenge and everything here and rituals. All of this, too. Like, think about it. Like, all the drug-fueled night here. Everybody was fucked up on, like, mescaline, LSD, right? Like, the media ran with the whole, like, devil thing, right? Blaming music, artists, all that shit. Like, Ozzy Osbourne, Black Sabbath, fucking Dio, everything. Now, the news said that Ricky and them were Satanists, and this was like a ritual type killing. Now, the reason that they got the whole fucking idea for the devil and all that is because the Suffolk County Police Department, they did a quick press release, and they stated that the teens were into some evil shit here, devil worship, like they found on Ricky, like in his wallet and all that stuff. So that didn't really help. Eventually, they did put out like a proper report, but by then the media just had a field day with all this. Now, Ricky, Jimmy, and Albert, they were all just totally famous in the span of a few hours. But before anyone else could kind of speak to Ricky here, he took a bed sheet from his bed and he hung himself in his jail cell, so he committed suicide.
Oh, wow.
I mean, maybe he didn't want to deal with like life in jail, or
I mean, it was probably a bit of that, and if he's in jail, he's not going to have access to all the drugs, so he's going to have to face his reality.
yeah, face other prisoners and everything here.
Yeah.
You know, like, fuck. He was supposed to be this big top dog fucking Satanist dude, right? Like, they're not gonna stand for any of that shit, right? They're gonna pick on him or beat him or whatever. And yeah, like, maybe they would just hassle him for like his devil worship and shit, right? And like, I know he didn't feel guilty about this at all, like, because he was telling classmates that he killed Gary just for kicks. You know, so obviously his whole fucking morals were gone to shit.
Yeah.
Now, Ricky's parents had blamed police for their negligence here in the death of their son, because it was believed that he was high on mescaline here and he should have been looked after, and he wasn't. They just fucking left him in the cell and they dipped out.
Yeah, that'd be a tough one.
Oh, definitely. And now that the Acid King kind of took his bad trip here, he stumbled off his throne, they couldn't use his testimony here because it was now inadmissible. So they still had Jimmy and Albert there. Now, Jimmy signed 2 confessions, which he later recanted here. Then they ended up getting Albert sometime later here. Now, Albert gave witness account that Jimmy helped Ricky in Gary's murder, but then he denied this during his testimony. They also brought up the state of the boys being on like drugs and all that, and how their headspace and everything was.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this top dog attorney here, Eric Neiberg, he took all the details here that Jimmy ended up giving him, and he did this again at another time. And Jimmy's story was different from his previous one. So he was like, what the fuck? Why is he telling me some shit and then, some other things are different? So what he did was he took Jimmy back to the crime scene here and he started explaining everything. And again, the story was completely different. So the reason for this is that the guy was so fucked up out of his tree that, all the drugs and everything totally messed him up. He couldn't decipher anything, like whether it was real or not real, right? And even watching all that shit, like, it's got to be a trip. Like, if you're looking around, you're seeing trees melt and everything. I mean, the whole fight between Ricky and Gary is going to be, like...
insane.
Yeah, it's like, what the hell is happening type thing, right?
Yeah.
So the lawyers ended up getting their shit together here, and court started about a year down the road. Now, Albert had went on the stand here. His testimony was brought into question here about the state of his mind and everything. And Albert actually went on the stand too. Now, his testimony was brought into question about his state of mind that night. And he told them that Jimmy was the one to hold down Gary while Ricky stabbed him. Now, Albert had told police about a lion that he had seen that night here. And he said this to the whole court. So the attorney was like, a lion, eh? And, like, you don't see many lions around. The attorney made mention that the circus was in town that night. He said, talk about the things you witnessed that night. And then he made mention of a lion that was chasing him. So the attorney goes, there was a lion chasing you? And he said, nah, there's no lions up in Northport. So as the attorney mentioned the circus, he said, there was a lion that had escaped from the circus that night. He was loose around Northport. Albert just looks at him shocked, and he said, "Wow, that was real?" And right there goes all his fucking credibility.
Yeah.
Now, all the hallucinogenic drugs that they did that night there, like, kind of made it impossible to determine what had happened. Like, the story had changed so many times, and nobody really knew what to believe. Or maybe some of it was bullshit. Maybe they were covering up. Who knows, right? But the jury deliberated 3 days, and they acquitted Jimmy on April 26th, 1985. And the whole thing was just fucking insane. Like, people just getting fucked up and somebody got killed, right? I mean, this could have easily happened without the drugs or all the insanity, right? Like, Ricky, I can say, definitely had felt betrayed by Gary taking his drugs and everything, right? But just something that he couldn't let go.
It's wild. Like, I wonder what his family thinks.
Yeah.
Like, they just must be so destroyed for the whole scenario. Like, where they didn't call in because he had a history of just disappearing and coming back, and then the police thinking that it was a false call, and like just so much fuckery.
Yeah, like so much fuckery. Like, I don't know, maybe the police would have did something about, like, drug use and shit, or maybe enforce something, but I mean, I'm sure they were busy with other things. They didn't have time, I guess. It was the 1980s, right?
Fair enough, yeah.
Now, after the trial here, Northport was getting kind of known for, like, international fucking fame and shit here, because every TV station had seen a picture of Ricky at his arrest, and he had this whole fucked up, like, face or whatever, right? So they had thought that that's what he was like, that he was just this full-on batshit crazy person. In a way, I guess he was, but the whole media kind of played the whole satanic worship angle here, so they try to go on saying it was a satanic ritual, right? When in reality it wasn't. There was like no bizarre shit, just more so exaggerated news coverage. But I mean, sure, Ricky read like crazy literature and stuff, and he talked a big game. He was mostly just interested in it for maybe just the sake of being interested in it, right?
Yeah.
But maybe it was a way to get some attention in a world that kind of threw him aside. Now, the kid didn't hate his parents or anything, right? I mean, with all the shit that went down, Ricky was just mixed up with the drugs, and maybe his own father, how he treated him, kicking him out of the house and everything, kind of fucked with him.
Yeah, I'd imagine it'd do some damage for sure.
Oh, it'll definitely weigh on your mental health, right? And once he started his drug use, like, I'd say that was maybe his way to likely escape from shit, too. I mean, it was the fucking suburbs. I mean, the fuck else is there to do there, I guess? But there were a lot of people that liked hanging out with Ricky too, like whether it was to get drugs or it was the person that he actually was that they liked, And others, like, there were a lot of people that disliked Ricky too, and that's just how life goes. Not everybody's gonna like you, right?
Yeah.
A lot of folks say that Ricky actually retaliated because of the stolen drugs. Like, there had to be like some hatred there. I mean, he stabbed the guy somewhere like what, 40 times or something?
Yeah.
How many times in the face, right? And Satanism actually wasn't even a part of the trial that went on there. So it was pretty much the whole police report that got the whole Satanism thing fucking blown up.
Well, I mean, it would be speculation. They don't know.
No, and they're probably just doing it to get fucking views and shit. Like, Geraldo did this whole fucking satanic episode and shit.
Terrible.
Yeah. I mean, plus he listened to, like, heavy metal and stuff. He had an AC/DC shirt on at the time of his arrest, and everyone started blaming heavy metal, and then Northport was just known all over as like a town associated with fucking black magic and Satanism and stuff, when originally it was just a regular town like many others, just some fucked up individuals.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this was literally just two teens who got into a fight and it went a little bit farther than it should have. And like I said, the whole place just got a bad name from there. Like, even religious people were stopping by and asking folks if they believed in Christ and trying to save them and all this shit. And yeah, I'll try to wrap it up a little bit here, buddy. So, Gary's family had stayed in Northport up until his mother had passed away back in 2002, and Ricky's remains were cremated. And get this, they were left unclaimed at a local funeral home for almost a year before his parents fucking came and picked him up.
Oh.
Yeah, that's how much they cared, I guess. And then, when they got them, they were kept on a basement shelf for a few years here, and they were then buried in the 90s here at some undisclosed spot. Terrible, eh? This whole story is just back and forth.
Sad.
Yeah. Now, his father passed away from Lyme disease here May of 1991, and this was after many years of mental deterioration. And the family left Northport not long after. And, what was it, that guy that they called Father Time here? He ended up, spewing, like, conversations with Ricky and everything here. He ended up committing suicide, after this main article was written from, Rolling Stone here. So, he laid down on the train tracks here and fucking train ran him over. And I think he was 40 years old.
God, what a way to go.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, fuck. Slow way to go. You can hear that thing coming a mile away.
Fuck.
Yeah. Now, Jimmy spent some of his life in and out of jail here just for, like, robberies and armed robberies and stupid shit like that, but he's since been released and he lives in upstate New York. Now, Albert Quinones, he lives up in Manhattan, and he declines any and every media person who sniffs around about the story. He doesn't tell them shit. And it sucks that 2 teens died from all this shit here. It's just fucking another twisted fucking tale.
Yeah, that was a wild ride.
Yeah. And last little bit here. In 1989, 5 years after Gary's murder, a small media company, they were called Reel to Reel Ministries, REAL to REEL. Now, they started selling a documentary called Hell's Bells, and this is about, like, the dangers of rock and roll and shit, right? So it talked about, like, subjects like violence, suicide, and the occult, and their affiliation with it all. Talked about, like, some black masking and all that stuff. Like, that started going on during the Satanic Panic here. And this was all in the 1980s. Black masking's actually, like, you look for, like, scrambles and, like, a bunch of reverse sounds and stuff. And some folk thought that Ricky was just as bad as Charles Manson. Young kid, yeah, like, with his, how he was, like, Charles Manson, like, what, like, fucking had a whole bunch of people kill for him and everything, right? Like,
yeah,
they kind of thought Ricky was in this satanic shit and he had a cult following kind of like his, right? Now, young kids ended up wearing, like, t-shirts with Ricky's face on it and shit too. Skateboard decks were also printed with his likeliness. And yeah, I mean, that's little kids wearing a fucking Ricky Kasso fucking shirt. Yeah. And even Geraldo there, he made some fucking money off this too here. He had an episode on devil worship called Exposing Satan's Underground. This is back in 1988. And lastly, there was a band called Acid King that hailed from San Francisco, California. They formed back in 1993, and they actually still play today, so I guess they signed some labels and stuff.
Did they name themselves after him?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, they named the whole band after Ricky Kasso.
That's horrible. Like, I just, there's no words for that.
No. They actually still play. They get gigs and everything. They sign record labels. It's all, yeah, it's all on there too. And that's our case of the Acid King. And I want to thank you very much for hopping on tonight with me, buddy. What'd you think?
Yeah, I mean, it was great. It's a lot to process, but I mean, like, it was informative. It was good. Like, I mean, these things need to be shared, so.
Yeah. No.
Thanks for having me, yeah.
No problem. Thanks for coming on future episodes and doing shit with me. So I really appreciate your time, to be honest. So
Yeah.
all right. Well, I'll let you go. Thanks for joining me, buddy.
Thanks.
No problem.
Twisted Tales.
Keep on carrying on.
CARE. Y. Because
Carry on production.